Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2017 International Downhill Federation Street Luge Season Review. We've got a lot of ground to cover, so I suggest you pop this video up on your TV, turn the sound up high, sit back with a glass of your favourite drink, some snacks, and enjoy the ride because 2017 was one heck of a season. Round 1 of the World Series saw a return to one of our legendary racetracks, Mount Panorama in Bathurst, Australia. It was also the start of 2016 World Champion Abdul Mazan's campaign to defend his title, and the Malaysian opened his book in style, making a clean run all the way to the final, advancing from semi-final A along with previous Mount Panorama victor and Australian Graham Britton. From semi-final B, we saw the Bathurst local Brendan Burke advance along with the newcomer and championship hopeful Ryan Farmer from the USA. We also had the pleasure of seeing downhill skating legend Adam Yates in action on a street luge. He convincingly took honours in the consolation final, securing 5th place overall, leaving Mazan, Britton, Burke and Farmer to take the start line for the final. Mazan pushed out to take the lead, but Farmer was hot on his tail, with the pace into the dipper proving too much for local favourite Brendan Burke, who high-sided, but he was certainly not out of the race. Farmer was in full send mode, blasting his way into Forest Elbow. He found the bales with enough speed to take flight, and in the ensuing chaos, Britton performed the steeziest recovery of the season to navigate around the flying Farmer, and in spite of being clipped, stayed on his board. Mazan took first place, followed by Britton in second, with Burke in third, after remounting his board in the dipper. Farmer unfortunately couldn't cross the line due to damage to his luge from the crash and his ribs. So the weekend saw Mazan mark his intentions to defend his title and for Farmer to show his desire to take it and send it. It was the opener for what proved to be a nail-biter of the season.
It rained on the first day, but that was...
The next stop on the World Tour would take us to the Philippines for the race known as Keeping It High. For street luge, the round was lightly contested and Mazan easily dispatched the competition, securing more points in the continued defence of his world title. The third round of the tour marked a historic debut of Korea's Arirang Hill racetrack, and boy oh boy did the Koreans roll out the red carpet. They've given us a racetrack that could easily become the jewel of the Asia Tour and something of legend. Here Mazan's perfect form continued, securing first place and the Asia Tour's crown. Taking second place, we saw Great Britain's William Stevenson open his ledger for the season, and Australian Michael O'Keefe rounding out the podium in third place. The Malaysian was dominating the World Tour at this stage, but after South America, a new contender would emerge. After the Asia Tour, there was a short break, and riders travelled to South America with rounds in Peru, Colombia and Brazil. The absence of Mazan from the South American Tour allowed Farmer to make up some ground, and he did not squander this opportunity. He put away a solid win in the wet, rainy and difficult conditions on the Peruvian Yacoraimi racetrack. The victory was made all the more impressive as Farmer held off top South American athletes Luis Mogovejo and Jorge Lozano. The podium saw Farmer in first, Mogovejo second, Lozano in third. In Colombia, Farmer claimed another victory, and in doing so, maxed out his World Qualifying Series points. Again, Mogovejo demonstrated his skill, taking second place, with Daniel Calais in third. Final stop of the South American Tour was Brazil, and this leg of the Tour's only World Cup Series race, the APAC Championship. In Brazil, we saw Stevenson from the United Kingdom make his second appearance for 2017, and Stevenson was on a mission to break Farmer's winning streak and secure more World Cup Series points ahead of his assault on the European leg of the World Tour. However, Farmer had different plans. Coming off the back of his 2 previous victories, Farmer's brilliant form did not falter. With racing that can only be described as beautiful to watch, Farmer showed the finesse of a rider with experience beyond his years. He executed a beautiful pass coming from the back of the pack, ripping the victory from Stevenson's hands just before the finish line, ahead of top Brazilians Alejandro Mercado and Leo Borton. The podium seeing Farmer, Stevenson and Mercado with Borton fourth. Mogrovejo's consistency throughout the South American tour saw him earn the South American Championship title. Next stop, Europe. Heading into the European leg, both Mazan and Farmer had maxed out their World Qualifying Series points, and both had a World Cup victory to their credit. Now it was a straight battle for the title. Once again, the mid of the European Tour saw 4 races in 4 weeks, with our first stop being the new Kingsgate World Cup racetrack in Hinterstoder, Austria. Rainy weather dogged practice and qualifying all week, but on race day the clouds took the weekend off, with blue skies and dry conditions making it anyone's game. In semi-final A, championship contender Farmer made contact with the undisputed king of street luge, Spaniard Mikel Diaz. Farmer crashed out, with the Spaniard continuing to the next round, leaving the second transfer spot open to George Cheeseman of the United Kingdom and Frenchman Oliver Girling. After a spirited battle between the pair, we saw Cheeseman advance. In semi-final B, Mazan and Stevenson pushed out in front and never looked back. If they did, they would have seen the crashing and spinning of Colby Parks of Canada, Tough King's curve. The event wasn't a complete loss for Farmer, as he secured 5th place overall, continuing his assault on the world title. Unfortunately for Parks, Girling washed out in the King's curve, and Parks was unable to avoid his loose board. In the final, Diaz pushed out in front and was able to hold off Mazan to take the win, with Stevenson rounding out the podium in 3rd. Next up was the iconic Kozakov Challenge. Athletes had to make a very quick transit from Austria to the Czech Republic with only 1 day between the rounds. Euro Tour was on a tight schedule this year, but for their troubles, riders were rewarded with more track time than ever before in the 9th edition of the Kozakov Challenge World Cup. In semi-final A, Diaz would face the strongest challenge of the race. Stevenson, narrowly avoiding a crash by his compatriot Cheeseman, led most of the way down the course, Diaz only finding opportunity to pass Stevenson on the lower straight. Foolishly, Stevenson took his foot off the gas a little too much, opening the door for local rider Andre Illich, who was hunting a podium on his home track. In semi-final B, Farmer pushed out in front of Parks and Mazan, leaving them both to jostle for a clean line into the first corner. Winning out for the line saw Parks hold 2nd place until the lower straights, where Parks accidentally bumped Farmer from behind, allowing Mazan to break draft and slide on by. But coming into the last corner, Farmer caught the pair with a surprise flick, making contact with Mazan, who had to execute some emergency braking, leaving Parks to do the same. Farmer and Mazan securing the transfers to the final, with Parks being eliminated. Consolation final, we saw some spectacular luge racing from Brad Cheeseman. Executing 2 fantastic passes, he held the lead before overcooking it and carrying a hair too much speed into a corner. His resulting crash allowed Parks to capture 5th place, just ahead of Stevenson and Martin Weichsmann of Germany. The final was a nail-biter. Farmer, Mazan, and Diaz were shoulder to shoulder into the first corner. Diaz managed to hold off the assault opening lead. A fierce battle ensued behind, between the remaining 3 competitors. The lead, the chasing group changing several times down the track. Diaz naturally taking 1st place, and Mazan ultimately winning the battle behind, securing 2nd, and Farmer in 3rd. Unfortunately for Illich, he was unsuccessful in his bid for a podium on his home track. Moving into the final stretch of the European leg of the World Tour, races were off to Italy, where they would take on 2 World Qualifying Series racetracks in Verdicchio and Tiolo. With a small field of only 6 competitors, Verdicchio saw a change to the race format. Riders nominated to run a Grand Prix style race with 3 heats, the winner of the 3rd heat taking out this round of the tour. The first heat was relatively uneventful, with only some minor action between Italian Albibo and Illich, who was still on the hunt for his podium finish. In the second heat, we saw the 2 main contenders, Parks and Farmer, go head-to-head. Parks, executing a textbook pass in the first braking zone, secured the win, setting up a dramatic final. In the final, Farmer was fastest off the line, with Parks and the Austrian Konstantin Weigl pulled along in his draft. Parks kept to the playbook from the previous heat, sliding past the American and the Austrian to take the lead in the first corner, and he didn't look back. However, the final was marred by controversy, the contact between Farmer and Weigl leading to a protest by Farmer. The protest was upheld by officials. The final result seeing Parks in 1st, with Illich ending his hunt for a podium in 2nd place, and Farmer in 3rd. Tiolo, the last stop of the European Tour. One of the slower tracks on the World Tour, but one of the more technical. To find pace on this hill, riders need to achieve perfection and not place a single wheel wrong. The main contenders fighting for honours were Diaz, Stevenson, Illich and Parks. Unsurprisingly, Diaz maintained his usual form, dominating and taking the honours, with Stevenson, Parks and Illich fighting it out for the remaining podium positions. Squandering an opportunity to pass in the first turn, Parks left Stevenson leading the chase. From there, Stevenson didn't place a wheel wrong, crossing the line in second, with Parks in tow and Illich securing fourth. Marking the close of the European Tour, the stage was set for an epic final battle, and our next stop, 1 month away, Vermont, United States. Killington World Cup. Fast, bumpy and lumpy, with cracks big enough to send you to Valhalla. The championship came down to this last race. A victory for Parks would move him into third overall. Mazan was absent. To take the championship, Farmer had to win. All setting the stage for a high-stakes, epic battle. In semi-final A, we saw Farmer advance along with Canadian Tim Koch as they held off the young American Joey Yates to advance. In semi-final B, we saw Parks and former world champion David Dean of the USA hold off O'Keefe and Chris Hicks from the USA to advance to the final. In the consolation final, O'Keefe passed Hicks early on to lead most of the way down, only to be pipped in Tetna's corner as Yates dove in to snatch victory and secure fifth with O'Keefe in sixth. However, the real action took place behind them. Shea McDougall from Canada rode a crack on the super straight and wobbled into a spectacular crash. Hicks narrowly avoiding the carnage by ploughing straight through the out-of-control McDougall. Hicks offered a couple of prayers to Buddha and friends for saving his bacon, and then he crossed the line in seventh. McDougall in eighth. Next, the final that decided it all. 2 Americans and 2 Canadians. Dean won the push but was passed by Farmer under the bridge, with Parks hot on his tail. Coming off the super straight into Tetna's corner, Farmer and Parks went around side by side. Farmer on the inside, Parks on the outside. On the exit, Farmer washed out, making contact with Parks, sapping his momentum. Parks lodged a protest, but Farmer was deemed to be out of control and the protest was quashed, earning Farmer his second World Cup victory of the season, with Parks in second and Koch taking third. Farmer won the World Championship by the narrowest of margins over Mazan, becoming the first American World Champion since David Dean in 2014. The final overall standings for the 2017 season saw Farmer in first, Mazan in second, Stevenson in third, Parks in fourth, and Illich in fifth. With a mere 21 points separating Farmer and Mazan, 2017 was a nail-biter of a season, coming down to the final heat in the final race. So we'll see you on the track soon, because 2018 promises to be even better.
Congratulations. So Ryan Farmer, you just won the Street Luge World Championship. How do you feel?
Stoked. Like I'm gonna probably go to sleep.
Hell
like
no,
I did.
You're drinking beer.
No, possibly. Yeah.
Awesome pop.
Yeah, I'm stoked. I'm really stoked.
What do you think about the pimped out bit of wood with the gold shading?
It's gold.
Yeah.
Gold means everything. Yeah. And there was prize money. That's awesome.
Ooh, did it taste good? Like
the money? Oh yeah, it tastes like money.
Thank you for watching our review of the 2017 International Downhill Federation Street Luge Racing season. And we'd like to make a special thank you to All Year Long, 3 Heads, and all the street lugers who generously donated their footage. And we'd also like to let you take in the scenery of the world's best racetrack, Arirang Hill, where Abdul Mazan and Ryan Farmer will have their first major showdown of the 2018 Street Luge season. Thank you, and see you on the Black Stuff.